Hey! How's everybody doing? Welcome to another video for you rock stars out there. And today, we are going to be talking about multiplying integers with models. Hey, what did one hat say to the other? You wait here, I'll go on ahead. Oh, I mean, they don't get any better, except they get a lot better, but they don't get better. So anyways, all right, so again, what's the goal? We're going to demonstrate and model the multiplication of integers. If you haven't seen addition and subtraction, I would suggest starting there, getting those rules and understandings of what it means to add and subtract integers, because now we're heading into multiplication, and next we're going to get division. So today's about modeling multiplication. Before we get there, let's check out this vocab word. This vocab word is brought to you by me. Duh. All right, product. The word is product. Okay, and if you've done the addition and subtraction, you know that the answer to an addition problem is sum. The answer to a subtraction problem is the difference. And the answer to a multiplication problem is product. So that describes the result of multiplying one number by another. For example, the product of 3 times 3 is 9, or the answer to 3 times 3 is 9. All right, let's do a little math lingo for multiplication. Let's chat a little bit about this. So we have 4 times 3, and that's probably how you've read it your entire life. When you're thinking about multiplying integers, it's very helpful to also potentially say, instead of using that multiplication sign and saying times, it also means groups. So you could say 4 groups of 3. You can also say 4 times 3, or you can say 4 groups of 3. And for what we're trying to do today, I would heavily emphasize the word groups. I am groups. Here we go. So let's get modeling. So let's take that problem, 4 times 3, or 4 groups of 3, and let's go ahead and model what that might look like. Okay, the first thing is we need 4 groups of 3. In order to show the product of 4 times 3, we need to go ahead and get ourselves 4 groups of 3. So here's 4 groups. And since it's a positive 3, inside of each one of them, I'm going to put 3 positive discs, or number chips. And here we go. So I have 4 groups of 3. So how many do I have? Well, I have 12, because 4 groups of 3 is 12. They were all positive, nice and simple, nothing tricky about that one. That's how you do it. We also want to be able to number it, or identify this on a number line. So we have 3. It's a positive 3, 4 groups of 3. So we're going to go travel 3 to the right. All right, so let me go ahead and set up my pen here. And let's go 3 to the right. Well, we're at 0, so let's go 3 to the right. So that's the first thing you do. And then next it's going to tell you, how many times do I want to do this? Well, that's where the first number comes in. So we're going 4 groups of 3. So we're going to do this 4 times. So that was 1. That's 2. That's 3. And that's 4. And when you're doing on number line, that's wherever you end up is going to be your answer. Where did you finish? Well, I finished at 12. So my answer is 12. All right, let's take a look at this one. Same scenario. We have 3 groups of -2. Remember, 3 times -2, or 3 groups of -2. So let's go ahead and do that. We got 3 groups. And inside each group, let's put 2 negative discs. So we have -2 in each group. And what does that give us? Well, if we have 3 groups of -2, we have 6 of those red discs, which tells us we have -6. And just like the last one on the number line, we're going to do the same thing. We start off with what are we doing? We're going -2, which means if it's a negative, we're going to go to the left. All right, so we're going to go to -2. How many times are we going to do that? You guessed it. We're going to do that 3 times. 3 groups of -2. So we're going to go another -2 and another -2. And that's going to end us right there at what? Where do we end up? We end up at -6, because we ended at -6. That would be our answer. Okay? That was pretty, wasn't it? That's some excellent drawing. I know you guys are big fans of my work. All right, so let's go to the next slide and see what happens now. We're going to go a little bit trickier. Okay, now we have this -2 groups of 4. What does that mean? Well, don't word it that way. When you see that negative sign at the beginning, start thinking opposite. It changes things around. Okay, so now it is read the opposite of 2 groups of 4. So, what does that mean? We need 2 groups of 4. So we go ahead and here's our 2 groups of 4. All right, so what does that give us? Wait a second. We can't finish yet because we need the opposite of 2 groups of 4. So let's make them red. The opposite of 2 groups of 4 is 2 groups of -4. And now where does that leave us? You guessed it. It leaves us at -8. The opposite of 2 groups of 4. So 2 groups of 4 is 8. So the opposite would be -8. Okay, so what does that mean here? Well, we need to go 4. So let's travel 4 to the right. All right. How many times are we going to do that? We need to do that 2 times. Let's do it again. Okay. Where did we finish? Well, we finished at 8. So that's our answer, right? Dun, dun, dun. No, it is not, because remember, we need the opposite. So we need to take that 8 and tell us what's the opposite. Well, that 8 turns into -8. The opposite of 8 is -8. So our answer is -8. I think you guys are getting it. Let's do one more just for fun. Oh, we got this negative sign. That tells us the opposite. So we're going to do the opposite of 2 groups of -4. Well, we need 2 groups of -4. Here they come. But we need the opposite of 2 groups of -4. So we need to go ahead and flippity-dippity-doo-dah. Now they're yellow, which makes them positive. So what is the opposite of 2 groups of -4? Well, the opposite of 2 groups of -4 is simply 8. All right. Pretty nifty, neato mosquito. So what do we do here? Well, we start off by going 4 to the left because that's a -4. All right. And then once we do that, we figure out how many times are we going to do this? Well, we're going to do it twice. So let's go ahead and do that again. 1, and here's another one. Okay. So that makes us end up at -8. Okay. But where did we really finish? Because we want the opposite of that. Flippity-doo-dah-day. And now we bring ourselves right back over to 8. So the answer to this question is 8. The opposite of 2 groups of -4 would be 8. It makes a little bit more sense, that, right? Because if I have 2 groups of -4, I have -4 and another -4. That's -8. What's the opposite of -8? 8. So you see how the wording really helps when you're doing this multiplication? It will help you figure out, should my answer be positive or should my answer be negative? All right. Use the wording. Use it wisely. You'll be happy if you do. Hey, do anybody know what you call a fake noodle? It's an impasta. Impasta. Because pasta is, you see, it's like a noodle. It's pasta. But it's also imposter. And that's just amazing stuff.